Hi there, Stampers. It's Lisa. Welcome to today's live. I want to start out first by apologizing for not being here last Thursday. My husband came home from work Wednesday night and said that something had happened at work, and all of a sudden, spontaneously, they had Thursday and Friday off, as well as Saturday and Sunday. So all of a sudden, we had this 4-day weekend, and we really wish that we could go spend it with my daughter because she has a little 2-year-old foster daughter she's hoping to adopt, and everything's looking really good for that. So if you're one of those prayer saying types, please say a prayer that we do end up getting to adopt the little girl that she has right now. But we called up, we asked if we could rent a car last minute, thinking there's no way on a holiday weekend, yada yada. Well, it all ended up working out, but it was so last minute. I didn't have time to pre-film anything. I put a post on Facebook. I put a post in the, I think it's the community section of my YouTube page, and I apologize because apparently everybody doesn't know that's there because it's for like static posts and things. But I am back and ready to share the card that we were going to do last Thursday, which is this one right here. They call it a corner twist card, and it's very similar to some we've done recently. I'm going to use the Cute as a Bug paper, but we're not going to use the bugs. We're going to use the fruits. So let's go ahead and get started and make the card. Like I said, I'm still like getting back into the swing of things. We spent 14 hours driving on, was it Thursday? Spent Friday, Saturday there, and 14 hours driving back last night. So I'm like still unpacking and doing laundry and all of that stuff. We're going to start out with a card base that is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Why are you not seeing my desk? Let's see. Something is wonky. Okay, can you everybody see my desk now? It wasn't even showing up on my preview. I am exhausted. I mean, it's kind of silly, but I'm exhausted. So our base, I'm using Blackberry Bliss. It's 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. We're going to come in and do one more score line to it to make our twist. I have an inside layer that is basic white that is 4 by 2 3/4. And we're going to need to cut. I thought this was all pre-cut in the envelope, but it's not. So we will improvise. But we're going to cut some Mossy Meadow, some Poppy Parade, and then I have some banners already pre-cut using those Stylish Shapes dies. And then we're going to use the banner greetings for our inside greeting. I was talking about last week how much I love this set of dies and this stamp set because it is so versatile and you can use it on any kind of card. Okay, we're going to need some designer series paper. The designer series paper we need to be 4 by 4. So I'm going to bring that in. Okay, and then once we have it 4 by 4, we're going to cut diagonally, but I need to cut diagonally from the upper left to the lower right. So I kind of have to pay attention to what I'm looking at. Then we're going to go this way. And because it's a point and a point, I don't want to mash those with my blade. So I'm going to slide this down and drop it in the middle. And we're going to go up and down, and that's going to be that. Then I need this piece here on the front. And this designer series paper looks like 3 by 3. So let's find the one I'm doing that with. Digging through my papers over here. And of course, I'm not clearly finding it. Hang on. It's not in that either. I've been using this paper quite a bit, so I shouldn't be surprised I'm running low. But we can substitute. We'll just use a different one. That one's 4x4. We can cut it down to 3x3. Okay, so that'll go on the front. And we could probably add a greeting on that. We're going to need some Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to bring in my scrap bundle. These are Pendaflex job ticket holders that I keep all my scraps in. All of my design cardstocks are in hanging folders. And then within the hanging folder, I have these Pendaflex so that each of my scraps is separated and put in with the right paper. And I always check this first. Now, I don't have a piece big enough because the one I have has adhesive sheet. I'm going to save that. So we'll cut into a new one. But it's good to have all of the scraps handy like that so that I don't cut into a new one if I don't have to. Okay, because this was 3x3, we're going to go 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. It's going to be that one. Then we're going to do 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 in the Poppy Parade. So that one I do have some bigger scraps. So, and have you all gotten more comfortable with the 1/8 now? The 1/8 is just in between the 2 and the 2 1/4. It's the long line. So each of these is an 1/8. So this is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Okay, that's how we're going to go across that. I do have a graphic that helps with reading rulers, and I've also recommended a couple rulers that you can purchase that break that kind of stuff down. Like in my Amazon store, I have this one because each of these little squares is an 1/8. And then I have the other one. There we go. This one has the 1/8 like written right on it. So if you ever have issues with that, please let me know. I don't want to try to talk over anyone's head, but I don't want to make you feel, I don't know. There's a fine line between teaching and then teaching stuff that you already know. So I'm just trying to walk that fine line. Okay, so because that's 2 3/4, we're going to go 3 by 4 1/4. Okay, that's going to be our inside layer. Okay, and then I thought it would just be kind of fun to stay with the triangular idea. So I took something that was 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 and cut that diagonal. So let's see, this is so there we go. So that will accent our inside. Okay, in order to do this fold, what we want to do is take our base, and then we're going to measure up on the left side. Okay, so we're going to come up this way, 4 1/4. Since it's 4 1/4 wide, we're going up 4 1/4. So you can either measure it with a ruler or you can stick it in your trimmer. I will often use my trimmer as a guide because I can close this and then just stick a pencil in here and do my pencil mark right on the track. And that makes it nice and easy. And then I'm going to score, making sure I get that cut blade out of the way. And I'm going to score from that corner to that tick mark. Okay, again, I'm using the little lips that are down here because this and this are raised. And so it will hold this in place so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to keep an eye on that one and then just score straight up and down. Okay. Then I can use my eraser and just take that off. It'll be like it never existed. And then we're going to fold this one up, making sure that we are flush on this side. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But if before I burnish this, I ensure that this is straight, then if my score line is off just a titch, then I can adjust as I score that out. Okay, but I'm going to burnish that really well, and then this one is burnished really well. Okay, then we're going to take that first triangle, the 4x4 triangle that I'd cut, and making sure that I have my pieces right side up, we're going to glue one on the inside and one on the outside. So I'm going to, let's see, probably should do liquid glue if you need a little bit of wiggle time. I reached up for it and didn't see it right away, so. I also wanted to let you guys know, hopefully you've seen my newsletter and have registered for the free card making summit that's coming up. We have a free card making summit doing holiday cards. It's the Cardmaker Success Summit, and it's going to be happening in July, so just a little less than 2 weeks. And it is like 3 or 4 days. It's the 16th through the 19th. So 16, 17, 18, 4 days. See, I told you I'm tired. 4 days of card making. I think there's something like 27 different people that are going to be demonstrating. There's going to be all kinds of holiday ideas, Christmas cards, but also, you know, Thanksgiving, Halloween, you know, everything we need for the fall. And of course, it's free. And then if you wanted early access or extended access or $600 in free goodies, there's that too. So I do have a link where you can register with me and get in on that, because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. I've already filmed my demonstration. Because Stampin' Up! Doesn't have a lot of Christmas stuff out yet, I used the reindeer fun from last year and made 2 different fun fold cards. And then as my freebie, there's a free tutorial that's going to come with the VIP pass, and then there is the fun fold guide that I made for everybody. So I will put a link in the description just as soon as we are done with this, but I don't want you to miss out because I think it's going to be really fun. I'm actually more impressed with this one than I was with the last one I did, so really looking forward to it. And like I said, less than 2 weeks. And I hope you will join me and see me over there. I'm also going to do a live Q&A section for that one. And then at the end of this month, we should be, the Stampin' Up! Will be mailing out the mailing selector for those of us that have chosen to have our catalogs mailed to our customers up. So that will happen. And then the new catalog goes live in September. But you don't have to wait for new stuff, because with the online exclusives, there was a new drop with that the first of the month. So hopefully, like I said, with the email, hopefully you saw that and downloaded the PDF. They've changed the PDF now, making it so that it looks a lot more like a catalog. So while it's not printed as a catalog, it kind of looks like one if you print it out yourself. I know I'm not talking through this, but I'm just layering things together. And the quiet, I don't know, makes me uncomfortable. I don't know why. So I tend to ramble. So please forgive me. Someone says you have a lot of scraps of that DSP. What are you going to do? A masterboard? I don't know yet. I have a lot of scraps of a lot of different DSPs. I do try to use them up. I do a lot of starburst patterns. I do a lot of kind of what do they call that when it's just strips, but they're buttered up. I want to say wishbone, but that's not it. Herringbone? Maybe that's what herringbone patterns with scraps. Okay, so when I go to mount this, what I want to do is I want to take these 2 points and I want to lay them along this angle right here. And then I want to make sure that this distance and this distance are approximately the same. And then I'm going to glue that only on that half. Okay, so as I had that down there, this is the half that's going to touch something. So not a lot of glue. Those are really thin lines, but I am trying to stay kind of close to the edge. Oh, and I went over a little, so I'm going to need to make some adjustments. Okay, so there I have too much glue, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of use my finger, and I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to give it a second to dry. Then I'm going to come in with my adhesive remover, and I'll be able to just drag it along there, and it's just going to lift that right off. Okay, so it's going to remove it from my card. So that's one option. It's already no longer sticky. I know it looks like it, but it's not. It's not sticky. But if you don't have that, the other thing you can do is use your embossing buddy and just rub that along too, and that will remove all the sticky. If you had done this with seal tape and you needed to be able to lift it, heating it with the heat gun will also release adhesive. It works better on Terran tape, mini glue dots, and seal. But say this was down with seal and I needed it up, I would heat it with my heat tool, and then I would either use this to kind of slide underneath it and help lift it, or dental floss. Quilt cards, that's another good idea. Quilt cards can be all kinds of things. You just cut it into any kind of quilt pattern. They just need to be pretty small designs that you're working with when you do that. Okay, so now we need our sentiments. So I'm going to bring in my banner and the stamp set, and Blackberry Bliss ink is what I would prefer. So here's that. Okay, so I'm here for you, and then sending love. So because they're words, I'm going to lay them down on my grid and then align this with the grid. I know it's not centered in my block, but I'm more concerned that it's straight than centered. Because the stamp and the block are clear, I can see through them, so I know where I'm going, but I want to make sure it's straight. So on the outside, I'm using the I'm Here For You. So I'm going to open this like a compact. That's the way I tend to do them. If you have a hard time with that, the other thing you can do is pinch the back. And when you squeeze down on these two, I'm afraid to do it because it's going to pop, but it makes this end pop up. And I have a light right over me. I didn't want it to whack the light, but that does work. But the new magnetic pads are coming, so those of us with arthritis fingers are really looking forward to easy to open pads. Okay, so there's that one, and then I'm going to take my second one and we're going to put it here and hope for the best, because I should have probably stamped before adhering, but there we go. And then I'm going to mount the smaller strip onto the larger strip, but I'm going to mount it on dimensionals. We had so much fun with my foster granddaughter, and we are so hoping that adoption goes through. We got really attached to the last little girl that she had, and we were supposed to be able to adopt, and then they ended up reuniting her with where she came from, which was not even her biological mother, but a reunition happened before the adoption went through. So my daughter was crushed. So I don't know if she could handle that again. I don't know if I could handle that again. Okay, so we're almost done with our card. I have one more little thing. Across the top, I decided it needed a little something, so I brought in some linen thread. Let me get this out of the way. And what I'm going to do is just wrap it around the top. Okay. So I'm going to give it kind of a lead so I have something to tie with. And then I'm going to wrap it around a few times. And then I'm going to cut it off. That way I ensure that I'm not using too much thread and I'm not using not enough thread. And then I have a tendency to wrap it around all three so that the knot happens in the middle. This is something's not taut. Okay, hold on. There we go. So once I have the knot there, then I can work on my bow. If I don't have the ability to like hold my finger still like that, I will sometimes use my reverse tweezers to hold that while I make my knot or work with my bow. That works pretty well. And then I tend to spread out these little things so that it's kind of looks more geometric. And I guess I'm not making a bow on this one, but if I was, then I would tie the bow. Let's see what I'll do with this one. See, I'm tired, I'm rambling. Oops. This is why I like my bow maker tool. And I could have done this on the bow maker tool, made my bow, and then just used a glue dot to tie the bow over the top of the strings. Let's see. Let me do this. See, my fear in putting this here is once I twist, that's not going to be straight anymore. So I do really kind of need to put this up here. If I was to put a design in the middle here, it would be something that wouldn't get distorted when we twist to open. So when I was playing around with this, I actually thought about using the Sweetest, what is it? Made with Sweetness, that's the deal. Made with Sweetness has these really cute little strawberry dies. That's maybe even something I could put over here. Because we're not using the bow, I'm going to take that off. And then we're going to adhere this down, but because I have adhesive, what do I have under there? I have dimensionals underneath this that I don't want it underneath here as well. So what I'm going to do is use mini glue dots, but I'm going to put them across the top and across the bottom so that we are not interfering with the thread. The thread will run down the middle and not be affected by these, hopefully. So hopefully the thread runs right down the middle. If I needed to, we could also put one in the middle just for a little more anchorage. So there I have 6. There we go. That worked pretty well. So there's that. And what do you think? Should we die cut a couple berries really quick and stick those in the middle? There is the back one that we would use. That would be the color that you want the seeds to be. And then there is the top one that will be the red, and then we have the topper, which we will do in Mossy Meadow, of course. And because they're little, we can do them on the mini. A littler scrap on that one, and Poppy Parade. So what did everybody do for 4th of July? Did you get out and swim and do fireworks and all that good stuff? Did you do your own fireworks? Go to somebody else's display? We did some sparklers and smoke bombs before the baby went to bed because she wasn't going to stay awake till like 9:30 when it got dark. Just not advisable for a 2-year-old. She had a lot of fun at the parade, and then the smoke bombs and the sparklers, they were a lot of fun for her. Oh, come on. Okay, this isn't feeding through, so what I need to do is align my pads so that they are, come on. This almost always works for me. On camera, and it doesn't want to, but if they're staggered at the end, they tend to work better. Maybe I'm just... There it goes. See? I don't know why that... Maybe I wasn't gripping it right with that paper hanging off the edge. did do a barbecue and went swimming. That was fun. My friend has a pool with a water slide, and the baby had lots of fun going down the slide and having us catch her. She wears a little life jacket in the pool. She did have the little arm floaties, but she has more use of her arms in a life jacket. So as we're trying to teach her to swim, the life jacket just seemed to work better. Okay. I know my take your pick tool is here somewhere. I know it is. I showed it to you earlier. Come on. This is why I usually have a lot of this stuff done ahead of time before I get on camera. Oh, that's the other one. I need this one. Is it? Here we go. I tell you, this tool is something I use absolutely every time I craft. What tool is it that you use that you have to have every single time you craft? Do you have one? What do you recommend to other people that they must have in their stash? So look at that, going through perfectly, and I didn't even stagger the ends. Okay. Those. More on this. That and this one. I was reading a post from my cousin who lives kind of outskirts of Chicago in Illinois. She said they were getting a lot of rain. Idaho got their rain like the week before. We had some, I don't know if it was sleet or hail or something. I don't know. It was flooding. And it was ice floating on top in Boise, like the week before. It's kind of crazy. It was almost like snow. There we go. So that's the way I want that one to go. So what I'm going to do to glue these together is I'm going to take a look at this, and I'm going to look at those bigger areas in between the dots. And we'll add a few. Not too many. I don't want it to ooze and go through the holes, but I don't want it coming off either. I will often use adhesive sheets on the red. That works really well. And it's not exactly the same size. The black is a little smaller, so it doesn't show from behind. And then this will mount right on top. There we go. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. Again, there's a little bit of shiny sticking out here, so I'm just gonna, it's not sticky, but it's shiny, and I don't want to see the glue, so we'll just lift that off real quick. And there we go. See, it's a non-directional pattern. So now when I lift like that, it doesn't get all messed up. So that's our corner twist card. Okay, so back to this. So there we go. That was our card for today. Again, I am sorry I wasn't here last Thursday. That was a spontaneous, spur of the moment, 14-hour drive that we decided to take to go spend time with the baby. We had a wonderful time and a very happy 4th of July, and I hope you did as well. And I will see you back here on Thursday for our next live at 2:30. And this week, I promise I'll be here. I will put the information for the card summit that you don't want to miss in the description just as soon as I get off here. Make sure you go sign up. Thanks. Bye.